Hey, Studog here, and welcome back to Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. That's right, I'm back playing Stanley Parable. In this last episode, we were going through Stanley Parable 2.
Someone was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Huh? The hell?
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him.
Yeah, good. Okay, let's continue on. Excuse me, I'm on the phone.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Yeah,
and
let's go.
entered the door on his left.
Be free! Free. We're going to a meeting room.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find... Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day.
Yes,
this broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say.
It's my bucket. Take it from me. Don't take it from me. Leave my bucket alone.
Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong.
It's my bucket.
This is your bucket. This is your companion.
Yeah.
And a lifelong friend.
Yeah.
You can't hand it over.
No. It's my bucket. Mine. It's mine!
This is how low the broom closet has sunk that it has to resort to this stream of petty...
He's calling me names.
Simply in order to...
Oh, screw you, Mr. Broom Closet. This is my bucket.
I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, it sucks.
This is worse than
Boo.
Boo. Now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends.
What?
That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient.
No.
That your life is so banal and meaningless
What?
that you feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate
Really?
object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner. Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it.
Yeah,
really
screw you, man.
I'm
gonna trash you.
Expand on the wide variety of experiences.
Break it all.
Break
Break it all.
Go
No.
through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional
Break it
landscape
all.
of your
Smash
feelings
it.
for the
Smash it. This is my bucket. You're not taking my bucket. Go away. Shoot. Yeah, this is my bucket. I will stay here with buckets.
I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all.
And what's that, Mr. Narrator? He can help. Property is done.
Now it's settled.
Now it's my bucket.
No more discussion. Take our hike, broom closet,
Yeah,
with
get
all
out
the
of here.
meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
This is my bucket, not yours. My bucket. My bucket. Back away from the bucket.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. I feel
This is my bucket.
It's also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, it's a bucket.
Oh, it's a bucket.
Variety of applications for this.
Wow, I didn't know it was a bucket. It's like if I hit my head and, get a concussion, I can always be like, what's this in my hand? Oh, wait, it's a bucket.
The name calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display.
I see.
You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
Okay, well, he's gone. It's just you and me now, Mr. Bucket and the broom closet. You want to do some things? We can start a life here. We just chill here. Got some duct tape. We've got some pliers. This handle thing was probably a nail gun. We've got some containers. This thing that totally looks like a hammer. We got some wire, more duct tape. We got one of these clampies. We got whatever that is. More duct tape. No hammer. Huh? That is a hammer. No, that's not a hammer. That's a ratchet, maybe? Where's no hammer in this place? There's a broomstick. There's a bucket. Oh, yeah, this is my bucket. They got their bucket there. Alright. I don't think anything else is gonna happen, so I reckon we just leave. Yeah. Bye, broom closet, you piece of poo. Alright, let's go.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Yeah. Come on, Mr. Bucket, let's go.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Yeah, me and the bucket knew.
Guiding him?
Yep. Bucket's telling me, he's whispering in my ear.
Most logical explanation.
The bucket's like, oh Stanley, the code is 2845. Yes, me and the bucket, we are lifelong friends, and we are just grinding it out, man. He's telling me what to do, we're doing it. This time we're not gonna fall into a hole. We're gonna keep going straight, we're gonna get out of here together, me and the bucket. Yeah, this bucket up best
Stanley and the
friends.
bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
I love this bucket, me and this bucket are like besties, bro.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs.
Like guinea pigs.
The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears.
Oh, the
as
bucket
Stanley
almost started
cradled it
crying.
Gently, reassuring
It's
it
okay,
that
bucket.
everything would be fine.
It's fine, we've seen this before. Like, a few times. Alright, let's go. It's okay, bucket. They're just screens, don't worry. It's fine. We'll go up there and we'll
Was the
stop it.
bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
Maybe.
Had the bucket been
Is there a
told to
picture
do
for a
things
bucket?
it didn't wish to do?
That one says
What
pirate.
kinds of things does a bucket want to do?
Maybe it's this
or
one
not
that
want
says
to do
bucket.
In the first place?
That one has
These
no name.
questions raised curiosity
Maybe that
in
one's a
Stanley's
bucket.
feeble
I
mind.
don't even know. Alright. Come on, bucket, let's go.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it.
No, he
His
can't.
own life in someone else's control.
Yeah, never.
He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world.
The bucket ending.
Trust me.
Yes, that's right. Me and the bucket, best buddies. Come on, let's go,
But
bucket.
here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that
he would turn the power off. And him and the bucket would sit.
waited in blackness.
Yes, we would.
Was it over? Yes, they had done it.
Yay.
Stanley and the bucket had defeated
You can see
their
the
presence
shadow
and
of the
darkest
bucket
enemy,
every time we
freeing
shot.
themselves from the
We're
tyrannical
free,
grip of
bucket.
the
Let's go,
evil
bucket. Let's go.
mind-controlled
Let's be
machine.
free.
Freedom was now mere moments away.
Let's go, Mr. Bucket.
The two of them began to discuss the kind of life they
Yeah,
wanted to
what
live.
do
Once
we,
they
Mr.
stepped
Bucket?
through this massive door,
Yeah, we can have a happy
Bucket
life
wanted
together.
to
You,
live
me,
Stanley wanted to
we'd
see
have
us in
bucket
every
family.
place on Earth.
Have
Both
little
of them
bucket
wanted to begin
children.
watching a movie, any movie, but then
Yes.
stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end. True, it was a simple life they
Yeah.
envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together.
Mm,
With one
me and
another
the
to lean
bucket.
on, to trust,
Together
to
forever.
support. What? Wait. What was happening? Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed?
Oh,
An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty. Until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
what?
Even
No.
the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket. needed the soothing warmth of the bucket.
No.
Many lengths not to part with the bucket. No, no, no. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms.
No, me and the bucket are gonna start a family. Be happy.
Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped in the darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I?
How do I know the bucket's there?
Very soon
It can be gone. I can't see. Oh no. Oh, this is never the end. Okay, we're back here again. Okay. Alright. But we did the bucket. Maybe we could do the bucket, but this time.
Gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Maybe the bucket now go the other way.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
Yes, the bucket and I go our own way.
To him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
What is with the accent?
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him.
The bucket has a weird ass accent though.
But Stanley chose
Should
not
I
to
jump
think
it down
about
there?
this obvious fact. He was firmly
Maybe the next one will go
bucket
down
had
there.
spoken to
But
him,
now we'll
and
just go
he
this way.
unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Yes, whatever the bucket says, I shall do. The bucket is leader.
In here,
said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
Now pick up the phone.
Pick up the phone, said the bucket. What is
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his bucket. Once upon a time, I gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
There you are, bucket. How you doing? Hi, Stanley. It's me, your bucket. Press any button to work with you.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders.
Hey,
Whatever
bucket, what's
Stanley
up?
is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head. Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an inanimate metal object? I
Hey,
will
what
say
bucket?
something to him.
I found you,
don't know
bro.
how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
Watch TV, bucket. Back at work, Mr. Bucket.
Anyway, Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to
Bucket,
me.
how you doing?
It's just a bucket. It can't think. It can't talk. All it would ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
No.
It
It's
doesn't
my
really
friend the
need
bucket. He's my best buddy. Yeah, don't listen to the narrator. Oh,
You see, he's not listening.
yeah,
He's
it's my
still
bucket.
taking orders from the bucket.
Yeah, me and the
Once
bucket,
upon
are
a
best
time, it was
friends.
me he took orders from. Me
No.
he trusted and
I
listened
never
to.
trusted
Now
or listened
all
to
he
you.
cares about is his awful bucket.
Yeah,
This
me and my
stupid
bucket.
hunk of metal.
Bucket.
It's sad. I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this
It's my
sort of
bucket.
shiny bucket. Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine.
Yes, it
to
does. It's a pretty cool bucket. But it's my
Yes, I
bucket.
suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket. It's just a little more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid. Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
Back to work.
What am I saying? better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket.
Yeah, a bucket.
Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Back home.
Oh no.
There's
I'm having
candles.
feelings for the bucket. No,
Going to the bedroom, I will, Mr.
Why
Bucket.
do I want to be with the bucket?
Yes,
Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't
Let's go.
understand.
Bucket. Me and the bucket are gonna narrate. You need to shut up.
Yes.
Let's just leave narrator.
Tell
The
me
bucket
what
and I
to
are
do
having some
in this
alone
troublesome
time.
situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to
Whoa,
me.
whoa, whoa,
Give me
whoa.
the
No,
bucket,
it's my
Stanley.
bucket.
I
No,
need
it's
it.
mine. Back
Give
up.
it to me now. Give it, or I'll...
Eyes are closed. Back to work, Stanley. Okay, back to work. Oh man, me in the bucket. It's such a good ending. That's cool.
I can't wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing they'll find it. Oh, won't we all? Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home.
Home again.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
We're not going to the
But
meeting room.
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to
Yes,
him,
me and the
telling him
bucket.
that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Wow, this is nice.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took
Alright,
the
we're gonna
doorway
go.
left to go back to the
We're
meeting
gonna go back through here, but this time we're gonna
No,
jump off the
said the
platform.
bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. A cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top.
Oh, the
There's something
collectibles.
up there I need you to do.
I'm not going
Stanley
to the
did
top.
not question
I'm going
why
to
or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this
Ready.
obvious fact.
Ready.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Come on, Bucket, let's go. We've never been this way, Mr. Bucket. This is like a whole...
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, no buckets past this point. Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my
Let me go.
goodness, I think
You can't help me back.
something about it. This misunderstanding
Oh no.
entire consequences on the entire
How,
rest of the game
how,
if
how?
we address quickly and properly. So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Oh, okay. This is interesting.
Now then, I'm going to run you
Is this a
three
bucket?
scenarios, and you'll
This is
tell
gonna be
me
fun.
whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket.
It's a bucket.
Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
Yes, that's a bucket.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay. It's all gonna be, it's a bucket. Because Stanley thinks everything's a bucket. Okay.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes, it is.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay, it's clearly still a bucket, but okay. Ah,
Item 3.
a bucket.
Is this a bucket?
Yes, it is. That's a bucket.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Oh, wow. Actually, alright. Okay, the next one's definitely a bucket. Oh,
Item
wow.
4. Is this a bucket?
Yes, that's a bucket.
What? Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor.
No, man, that's
It's
a
an
bucket.
enormous machine that tills the earth. I thought this was a gimmick. How on earth did you manage to screw it up?
Yeah, that's a bucket.
Absolutely incredible. Let's
It's a
just
bucket.
move on to the next one.
Yeah, okay. That was definitely a bucket. The bucket is telling me to say bucket. Ah, look, another
Is this a
bucket.
bucket?
Yes, it is. That's a bucket. Alright.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Yes, it is. That's a bucket. This is so stupid but fun at the same time. What's next? A
Item
bucket.
6. Is this a bucket?
Yes, that's a bucket.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
So it's not, but it is a bucket? Is but isn't a bucket? Okay.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Can we just leave? No, we can't. But, that's a bucket.
Okay, you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket. We both clearly know that a bucket is something. And
Well,
therefore
that up there is a
nothing
bucket,
could possibly
so,
be something. Unless, in your twisted mind, have you somehow convinced yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket? You know
Everything
what?
is a bucket.
I'm too confused to even sort it out.
Really?
I've lost all sense of perspective.
Of course you
What
have.
is a bucket? What isn't a bucket?
You'll never know.
Years ago, I could answer these questions with confidence. But now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is? Am I a bucket?
Yeah, you are. We're all buckets.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart.
Good,
I can't have
good.
that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely.
No, not
Okay,
buckets.
here we go.
No, don't take away my bucket. No. Oh, I was really looking forward to keeping my
What
bucket.
happened? Is everything gone?
Yep.
Why did everything disappear? Wait,
Because everything a bucket.
every single thing in the game was a bucket. Oh my god, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And
No,
you,
you're not.
Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue, but it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game. So, tell you what, I'll reset everything and we'll put back all of the buckets, okay? And
Yeah.
we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
Okay, back to the buckets. Okay, wait. In there. Okay, now it's just to do.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled.
Yeah.
He'd never be alone again. Not truly alone. Not with the bucket around.
Me in the bucket. Okay, this time. This time we will take a bucket and we'll turn on the my machine.
Tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Come on, bucket, let's go.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office would come to a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Yes, this time we're going to turn on the
This
machine.
is certainly the most logical explanation. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines.
Yeah.
Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
Okay, just keep going. We will try and get all the figurines. Probably in another episode. Right now, we're just gonna focus on the buckets. We have the buckets. This time we're gonna turn on them. So let's see what me and the bucket are gonna do. Let's turn it on.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
This the bucket? Let's turn it on.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
So by the time I did it, it was already open. Turn it back
The
on.
monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the
And
bucket in
then,
shock.
when we get to the
Everyone in the
control
office
facility, we're gonna turn it on
monitored
and see what happens. Because we've already done the ending. Oh, we tried leave with the bucket, so let's try. We'll do all the bucket. This is the bucket episode. Everything in this episode will be bucket related. We can call this Stanley and his bucket.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well?
No.
Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control. Never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except
Okay,
the bucket.
come on, bucket, let's go. The bucket and I are gonna come here, turn on the.
But here was
We're gonna turn it on.
the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in,
Okay, let's turn it on
decided
already.
that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really funny way. The bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system. But at the last second, the bucket jumped in and pressed the button to turn on the controls.
Yes, the
Stanley
bucket's evil.
gasped in horror. Had this been the bucket's plan all along? To take over the machine and claim the power for itself?
Yes, yes it is. That's, the bucket's evil.
Stanley was prepared to throw the bucket away in disgust when suddenly an image appeared upon the enormous screen.
Seagulls.
Birds. Silly birds.
Hello, little
The control
seagulls.
buttons became active again.
Silly birds. Oh. Flamingos. Hello, yellow bird.
Through one video of silly birds
Penguins.
to another, and then it dawned on him.
I don't know what
This wasn't a mind control facility at all. It was a facility for monitoring and surveilling silly birds
okay.
all over the world.
Oh, a duck.
The mind
Ah,
control
it's one of these
was a
guys.
facade to disguise its true intentions. Had the bucket known this all along?
Whoa.
Stanley
Ow.
marveled at the metal genius in his hands, the one who had pointed him towards this incredible discovery. Stanley and the bucket never found freedom because they spent the rest of their lives here in this place.
Yeah.
Through live streams of the silliest birds imaginable.
Silly
Of
bird.
all the possible paths his
Just
life
flick
could
through
have
them.
taken, this one was surely the best.
What's this one?
And Stanley was happy.
Oh, just goes backwards. Hi. Huh. Yeah, okay, the last bucket ending on me.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather. The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure
Yes.
together.
This time,
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
we're gonna go downstairs with our little bucket friend. See what happens. Da 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 dee do dee do. There will be a reward for finding them all. Mission status. Lots of boxes, stairs, something cool to do with stairs. Some have both red and blue. A private but smelly place for important. Wow. Just tells you exactly where the statues are. Let's keep going.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
We walk down.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley.
Mini stands.
What about
Stanley.
Yes, like that. Another Stanley under your belt.
Okay.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be
Okay.
fined for that.
Come on,
And in
bucket.
such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy.
What?
He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket.
He asked the
The bucket
bucket.
returned his gaze, but said nothing at all.
How's the
Well, that's
bucket
strange,
return a
Stanley
gaze? It
thought.
hasn't
Usually
eyes.
the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me.
Yes,
in
it
difficult
is.
times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now
Yes,
he
it
found
is.
himself floating off the ground.
Oh no, he's floating.
Gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it.
Where's my
Far
bucket?
off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me! The bucket!
There are buckets everywhere.
He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his.
No, where's
None
my
of them were
bucket?
his special bucket.
Where's my bucket?
To me, Stanley!
Where are you, buddy? Where are you,
Find
bucket?
the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from.
Where?
The real bucket was inside of him all along.
Oh, it was?
Incredibly painful.
Oh god.
Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Go. So he was the bucket the whole time? Or he ate the bucket?
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Oh, not Mariella.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work.
Does everyone have a bucket
Her
now?
walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk.
Oh no.
Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket. Of course, he'd gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his lives and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. She backflipped all the way to work.
Backflips all the way to work. True, dude. That's hilarious. Okay, well, that's every ending that you can get with a bucket. I think we did the mind control turning on, turning off. We went up the stairs. We went down the stairs. We went from closet. I think that's all of them. So I'm going to end this episode here. This has been the bucket episode, where all we did was try and get all the bucket endings, which I think we did pretty well. And so I hope you enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like, share on social media, comment down below what you liked, and if you have a reassurance bucket too. And I will see you guys in the next video. Studog. Ow!